Welcome fans of speed, welcome fans of steam, welcome to Thom-Cast 2016!
Oh my god, they're actually doing this series regularly.
What? No way.
Who knew it, right?
That's crazy.
Hi
man.
guys, it's us, and by that I mean George and me being Mayoorhan.
The two people that are normally on the show and are the least interesting.
Well, now, boy, do we have a show for you today without Matt because he is still fending off diesels on the other railway. Good for him. So, we've got news to talk about. Yes, what is the news? George,
Yeah,
I haven't
okay,
prepared.
so-
What's the news?
Okay, so first thing we've got is the new Bachmann lineup, which has been announced for this year. So, okay, Mayoorhan, if you've got the list, or you probably know a bit better than me, but I think I can start the ball rolling by saying that we've seen the first picture of the Bachmann toad.
I had the list up on a tab and I've lost it. There it is. Right. Yes, the Bachmann Toad's been officially released. You can now buy it for money, and it's a very, very nice model.
It reminds me how realistic the actual Toad Breakvan from the show is, almost.
Well, there are some slight inaccuracies with the Bachmann Toad. It
There's
says
a face.
Well, aside from
That's
the
not
obvious,
realistic.
aside from the obvious, George, it says it's a 16-ton on the side when actually it's a 20-ton brake van. Rivet counters be damned. I don't know. I just got told that.
I genuinely didn't know that.
I did because that's what Skype was just shouting about.
See, now Thom-Cast is offering free facts, one
Yeah.
every episode.
And this is the thing I found out. The Toad is basically a repaint of Bachmann UK's super detailed Toad brake van.
Hence the hefty price tag.
Yep, which I find it impressive how Bachmann UK are basically, yes, this is a model for very serious models. And then Bachmann America are just like, yeah, stick a face on it, sell it to the younglings.
Yeah, and then there's Hornby as well, which I find interesting in contrast. They're going for like their cost-effective range now, which really isn't that cost-effective at all.
It's still more expensive than the railroad range, which is crap.
Yeah, and still no Loco Drive Henry, which is... Still no Loco Drive Gordon.
Yeah.
Disappointing.
We actually do have a news bit about Hornby right after we finish with Bachmann.
Oh, do we? I genuinely don't know.
No, it's something I just remembered. It's not to do with Thomas directly, but it's quite important, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know what it is now, don't you?
Yeah.
Right. As well as Toad being officially released, we've now got a new announcement for what we can expect this year for the Bachmann range. So, for double O gauge, they've announced the Bachmann Rosie with moving eyes. I don't know who asked for a Rosie, but we got one.
Diversity.
Surely Diversity would be announcing a Bachmann Ashima. That would be diverse. Anyway.
I want a Bachmann hero. That would look cool.
Yeah, I can
He'd kind of
imagine
have. He always has that neutral face though. So with those moving eyes, it would look really shit.
Imagine if they give it the face the Hero of the Rails model has, like the
Yeah.
game model. Oh, that would be weird. Yeah. So there's Rosie, a Sodor Salt Wagon,
Yes.
Troublesome Truck number 5,
God, we're building up an anthology here.
Great Western Cattle Wagon,
I like cows.
and my personal favourite of the double O gauge announcements, refrigerator car with live lobsters. I hope they're not seriously considering packaging live lobsters to children. That would be a bad marketing move.
What does that mean? Is there going to be some like gimmick, like an electric kind of fan that kind of makes them jump about inside or something?
That's scary.
I
More than
know.
anything. It'll be like ants.
Yeah. I mean, I do remember when I was younger, and I think they do it a bit more now, with like Wooden Railway, where you get the gimmick kind of vans and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were always like the coolest part of any collection, I think.
But for double O gauge, it would just be a bit weird, really.
Yeah, it's weird to contrast with like the super detailed, practically super detailed Toad.
Yeah.
And then the refrigerator. Maybe they're just trying to cover all markets. I mean, you know.
Yes, the lobster market's getting very good business these days. And then for the narrow gauge range, they've announced Reneas,
What
which
a surprise!
which is something everybody's happy about. A narrow gauge slate wagon with load, a narrow gauge slate wagon with load again, and a narrow gauge slate wagon with load again.
What a variety!
Yeah! Bet they're not just Pico repaints.
Yeah, but they're nice Pico repaints.
Yeah, but they're overpriced Pico repaints.
Yeah, well, after buying that Toad, you've probably got money to burn if you can do that.
And then finally, for the large scale range, they have Thomas and Percy with DCC sound.
Ooh. Ooh.
A box van with Sodor fruit and vegetables. A box van with explosives.
Oh.
And a box van with Great Western.
Oh.
it's just so, it's like it builds up and then it's just, oh.
Has Bachmann done kind of like the circus vans from like Series 6 that Hornby
No,
did?
I think that was just entirely Hornby who's done that.
They should have done that. I feel like
They should do one with like a pop-up elephant. Just like one of the cars like leaps out.
Or like the giraffe one.
I also like how at the bottom of this announcement they're also like, by the way, we haven't decided on when we're releasing Oliver or the large scale Winston yet, so bear with us. We know we said we'd release them last year.
I want to go G scale now.
Yeah,
I'm giving up 00 scale modelling and
you're
I'm
not going to do it, George.
No, shut up. I can dream.
You can dream doesn't mean you're going to do it.
I can dream, Harold.
And that's all from Bachmann. Now we've got it's not entirely Thomas related, but some news about Hornby, which can be summed up very simply with they're quite a bit in the shit.
Yeah, that's depressing to hear.
Yeah, Hornby have gone down in profits for like I think the 3rd year running.
It's been since the Olympics fell through.
Yeah, the Olympic stuff was that was a misstep.
Yeah, people that don't know, obviously, because we had the London Olympics in 2012, Hornby invested a lot, particularly in their corgi ranges and whatnot, into a lot of patriotic kind of merchandise, and it just didn't sell.
No one wanted it, and it bombed quite a bit for the company.
And I think they've been feeling the repercussions of that ever since. Hopefully, this is in direct relation to that, and not the Hornby range itself. One would hope that you know, because I think, hopefully, though, this will lead them to diversify their range, honestly. Outside of Thomas, I find that Hornby often play it safe, and I'd like to see them go for some new moulds and more obscure engines.
The issue is that they need to make train sets feel cool again.
Yeah.
And they haven't, like, you look at the Hornby packaging now, it's all very standard. Like, I remember, the most interesting thing Hornby, for me, have done over the past few years was that Codename Strikeforce set, because that just looked different. It just looked...
wanted that so bad.
More stuff like that is what Hornby need to do. And make their Thomas range less shit and expensive.
They're trying to play it safe, but they're losing money because they are. I think they've got to give a little to get a little. Again...
I think Hornby's response to that statement would be, the Olympics. At which point will be, yeah, but they weren't cool.
Again, though, like... I think it could... We don't really know why this has happened, to be fair. I think on a business side of things, it could be down to numerous factors. I hope this causes them, though, to pick up their game. All they have to do is release a super detail E2, and everyone will buy it.
Yeah, because Thomas, but you also forget the fact that 90% of people don't know that Thomas is an E2.
You say that, I think that's sort of like the cop-out fact, that like someone who's into Thomas books wants to feel like they're really into the realistic side of things. It's like fact number 1, he's an E2. So I think that'd be quite a clever move. Make the Thomas tender engines loco drive and you will save the company.
Or just, make them cheaper than the damned railroad range, which should be I don't get how they're making this Thomas range and it's still more expensive than the railroad range. I just don't get how that's possible.
But speaking of aggravating situations, Mayoorhan, there's been a new take and play engine, hasn't there?
Oh yeah, an engine that a lot of people have been quite excited for. So, we have Mike, we had Rex, now we have Blue Rex. Yeah.
Yay.
The first official pictures of the take and play Bert have been released. It's basically Rex but blue. Like even the face mold's the same. It doesn't have Bert's quite wonderfully large forehead. And he said forehead, that would have been a very different thing. It shows how cheap Take and Play has become as a range.
I've kind of always tried to defend Take and Play though, because I think Second's Wordle, their molds have always been quite nice and detailed.
My favourite sort of Take and Play stuff is from when it started out as the first sort of attempt at Take and Play and before their first sort of big rebrand. Yeah. I think that was when they were at their best.
I don't know. I've liked some of their stuff, particularly for Sluttle. And
but even then, it's sort of like the magnets kind of ruin it, and the cabs are squashed.
I think the minis are dominating that, to be honest, though, now.
Speaking of the minis...
These segues are rolling and rolling.
Rolling like the Wild Nor'Wester on a rush hour, I don't know. But yeah.
But not in public, because that's illegal. Ban the Segway.
Well, isn't it like segways are fine, but hoverboards are illegal?
I don't. They both are dreadful.
You've tried riding on a hoverboard as well.
So has one of our previous guests, Matt, and I witnessed with my very own eyes as he sailed into his living room light. Hayden needs to do an animation of that. That's my number one priority.
What, Matt on a hoverboard, just his face smacking into a light, stepping into the light.
Are you telling me you don't want to see an animated version of that?
To be fair, I think I know what would be better than an animated version of that. Reenacting it in real life.
Well, I'm sure that can be arranged.
But yes, going back to the minis, last week we did say that there was going to be a cross between MLP and Thomas minis, like as a rumour. Turns out that rumour isn't correct, but something else completely out of left field has come. And first there were DC Thomas crossover minis, and now there are Spongebob and Thomas crossover minis.
I'm okay with this actually, and I've got a defence for it, but I'd like to see what you think first.
I don't care, really. I don't care enough.
Yeah.
It's a £2 toy. Really, it doesn't matter.
Right. So my defence of it though.
It's not like they're releasing a Bachmann Thomas dressed up as Spongebob.
That would be
something
better than Lobster Vans. My defence is that I think part of the minis' charm is that they're quite wacky by their own nature. When you have like Neon Toby and Cyborg Dash, like it's like you can't be judging these on being serious toys. So the fact that they're branching into DC and SpongeBob and allegedly My Little Pony, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think they're quirky little toys, and like Mayoorhan said, they're £2.
They're really inconsequential.
Yeah.
Really, they are.
Just take them or leave them. Did they announce some playsets a while back?
Yes, the playsets are cool.
That's what interests me.
Because they have normal track, but then they have anti-gravity track.
Oh my god.
You know how, if you get a mini, you may notice how on the base they have like a sort of hook?
Yeah.
That's where the anti-gravity track slides into. And the minis can defy gravity on their playsets, which is a nice little feature. And
that is
considering it's on all minis, this must have been planned from the beginning. They really thought ahead with this one. Also, we've now to the newest special that's going to come out this year, The Great Race. We talked about it a bit last time and some of the new international engines that were revealed. And now we've got our first kind of trailer, which is very unconventional for the sort of trailer they normally do for a special.
Yeah.
And it's quite cool. So basically, if you haven't seen it, they reveal all these engines like sort of hidden in shadows. They say they're going to reveal them one by one, and then you get to talk to them or something. And then they just show the DVD cover, which DVD cover's cool for two things. One, we get a first proper look at Ashima, who's probably going to be like the main focus of the international engines, which is nice. Good character focus. Know nothing about how said character is going to be written. We just know that probably going to have biggest role of the international engines. But then at the top of the cover, namely the top left, ignoring the Streamlined Gordon on the top right, we have an engine who hasn't been involved with the franchise for a long time. Oh my god! Oh my god! Flying Scotsman's gonna be in the show!
Two tenders boring, mate. Nah, I want one tender. No, I hate the smoke deflectors. Oh, that's the wrong shade of green.
George,
Inaccurate. No,
George?
it's great.
See that Thom-Cast based cliff over there?
I do.
Jump off it!
Oh. No, seriously, I think the reaction I've gauged is a lot of mixed opinions, and fair enough. The Flying Scotsman's probably the most famous real-life engine in the world, and I think everybody has a different view of what he's meant to be like. He's had lots of different looks over the years, but I think it's...
His eyebrows, man.
Yeah,
His eyebrows.
I don't know about you, something feels quite special, because obviously Thomas is probably the most famous fictional engine in the world, and Flying Scotsman's the most famous real engine, so they're kind of crossing over once more. Something feels quite special about it.
It's a genius marketing move, and it works so well for both HIT and for the National Railway Museum. Because Flying Scotsman's return to Steam, that's going to be a big thing. Thomas will make that even bigger. Flying Scotsman being in Thomas will make that even bigger.
Yeah, something feels quite special about it, and who knows, maybe we'll get a reference to enterprising engines, eh? Or maybe just Matt Mitchell will just appear. Who knows? We have no idea.
He is voicing Flying Scotsman.
Oh, one can dream.
Here's the question. Which celebrity voice actor would you like to get to voice Flying Scotsman? Like a celebrity one, not like Keith Wickham or anything, like a proper celeb.
Bill Nye.
That's interesting.
I think. Or, no, Brian Blessed. Genuinely.
Gordon's alive!
Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do some, rivalry with them. That might be interesting.
See, I would have gone, for a sort of a different focus. Instead of, sort of big and booming, I would have gone something, more soft and focused. So,
yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch as a proper celeb. Or, and I think you'll like this one, George, Tom Hardy.
No!
Yes!
Bad idea.
Wonderful idea. I think he could do it.
It depends how much they're paying him. I mean, we haven't got any celebrities this time round, have we?
Well, they haven't announced any yet.
I swear they announced the Legend of the Lost Treasure voices before we even saw a trailer.
Yeah, no, but we only got the Legends of the Lost Treasure voices after Redmayne won the Oscars, and the Oscars haven't happened yet, so...
So what you're saying is they're looking for their next Oscar-winning actor to be part of the Thomas
League.
Matt Damon! As the Flying Scotsman.
But yeah, what do you think of their new marketing approach? With this whole idea that because what they're apparently what they're planning to do is they're gonna, starting in March, they're gonna weekly, I think, release an interview with each of the international engines.
Firstly, I think they're going to leave Scotsman till the end.
Yeah, that's probably likely.
Yeah, I think it's a really clever move, and also I think it's really interesting that they're making this such a big event. I think they're clearly investing a lot into this.
I do like it how they're playing the long game rather than going for the short-term hype.
Yeah, this feels like it's going to be a big campaign that's going to build until the special. And I find with the episodes and the movies, it's frustrating how staggered the release dates are. So I hope they build this up as one single release date or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think where Slaughter sort of revealed itself with a bang with a trailer, and it's oh my god, look at this, amazing. This one's more like a game of chess. It's gonna take its time and release hype slowly, which I'm all for that. It's a different approach, and I think it could pay off really well.
Yeah.
And now for the one thing we've been putting off. Streamlined Gordon. What do you think?
Get it away! Out my face!
Do you know what I think? Everyone's saying it looks like Gordon's been streamlined to be an American. I don't think that. To me, it looks more like a Duchess's streamlining, where the front of it's been cut out so you can still see the smokebox door. That's what it looks, because the tender looks more like a Duchess's tender than it does any American tender I've seen.
Yeah.
That's why I'm sort of going, it genuinely looks like the bathtub half, the front's just been cut out so Gordon can see. It's basically what I'm thinking.
But that makes me think, if they're gonna, that's obviously going to be a plot point in the in the special, whether it's probably played for comedic effect.
Uh-huh.
But that makes me think that Gordon is going to be quite prevalent in the special, and that's interesting because we've got Flying Scotsman there. So I'm hoping we have some Flying Scotsman Gordon banter.
Oh yeah, definitely. I want Flying Scotsman to be an asshole, but like one everyone wants to be friends with.
Yeah.
They're probably like think Tony Stark before he becomes Iron Man in the first Iron Man film. That's
Yeah.
sort of he's a prick, but you want to be his best mate.
I think it would be a really nice twist. I've always said this about like Flying Scotsman. I think it would be a really interesting idea. You have this really famous engine, like that everybody loves, and he's a massive dick. Like he's just detestable.
But he's not. He's detestable, but you still like him
because he looks pretty on all the merchandise.
He just needs to spend like about a minute of screen time wiggling them eyebrows, and it will be fine.
Those are interesting eyebrows. Yeah, it's just nice to have so much cultural variety.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks so cool and fun.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
already more impressed by this Great Railway Show than I ever was by the book. So that's a good start, really. No offense to the book.
I think the race sequences are going to be interesting. I mean, I don't think they can really get all 12 engines in one race, but who knows?
Who knows indeed?
Who's directing it? Is it David Stoughton?
Probably Stoughton.
He's
or
very cinematic.
Yeah, or Silvestri.
Yeah. I think there would be a good opportunity to go full out cinematic with this, actually.
Yeah.
They might as well.
They're probably gonna.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see them stretch their directorial chops with this, with 12 engines. Does that include Thomas, though?
No.
13? Well, or 14 with Gordon or something, I don't know.
Or 14 with Flying Scotsman, because they haven't treated him like he's one of the internationals.
This is going to be interesting. Yes.
To our editorial topics?
Yeah, editorial topics. So this episode, we've called out on Twitter to gauge some, just kind of an informal, well, about as formal as Thom-Cast gets. Just some questions from people and discussion topics. I think it'd be interesting to just have a whole variety of them. And then I can't find the Twitter page. There we go. Okay, are you ready to go, Mary?
I'm ready.
Okay. So the first question we've got from @TomTomDoesStuff on Twitter is: do you think the special and then season format is alright as it is, or should there be some sort of change made? What do you think, Mary?
I think they should have a bit of a change, because at the moment the continuity is kind of fucked. Where airing schedules aren't as reliable as Hit want them to be, and that's kind of sort of ruining the continuity, because we've had Series 19, which is set before Slaughtered, but we've had Slaughtered since last September, and we've only just finished Series 19. They've tried to fix it, but I think they need to take a break with a special or a season for just 1 year, and just so they can get themselves sorted out. But as a sort of yearly thing, I don't mind it. I like it. We get a movie every year, and personally, I tend to be more interested in the movie than I am in the actual series. That's just me.
Yeah. But personally, I think the biggest priority they should have really is getting proper release schedules for the episodes, because they've been so stagnant in their actual releasing of them, definitely in the UK, and I think
UK,
in the USA,
America,
it's so dotted.
The only country that's had consistent release schedules is Japan, and thank God they have an English channel. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I think the last time we had a proper run straight through of a series was Series 16, I think, which is 4 years ago. I think if they sort that out, because I think Hit aren't stupid. They know that they probably see that people have had to record episodes from Japan and put them up on YouTube and whatnot.
Yeah.
I think if they smart up to that and do a proper release, they can make a bit more of an event about it.
I think what they need to do is say, piss off to Channel 5 and go to CITV or CBeebies. I mean, for crying out loud, in the UK, right, you have TV, and then you have Channel 5, which is basically the dumping ground of programming, and Thomas is for some reason there when it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
I mean, Bob the Builder recently had a reboot, and now it's gone to Channel 5. So Channel 5 isn't a good place to be.
It's a scary place. It is the other railway.
No,
2.0.
worse than the other railway.
Okay, next question. Quite an interesting one from at NESP_LBSC on Twitter. How long do you reckon the series will last?
Forever.
Yeah. As long as it's merchandisable.
And as long as there's money, there's a series. If there's no money, there's no series.
Yeah. And I think it's not going to slow down. Like, I think railways and engines are a constantly appealing thing.
Yeah.
It marries into the show. The show promotes the merchandise, and the merchandise promotes the show. They'll keep going together forever.
Until
Like
the
a
nuclear
couple.
war of 2020, when King Jong-un destroys America.
Until the World War II movie comes out, because it's totally gonna come out, right, guys? It's coming out.
Yeah, World War II. Actually, the World War II movie is The Great Race in Disguise.
Scotsman just arrives.
Yeah.
And Thomas has to jump the Vickerston Bridge because, like, Sodor is exploding.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb. Leap the bridge. Thomas with TNT strapped to his sides.
Couple me up! Couple me up!
Put the bomb! Don't couple me up! Don't couple me up!
Ryan!
Yes,
right.
Ryan, that is the famous wartime engine.
Well, end
yeah.
use.
Well, you could say the end of Slaughter was a war in and of itself.
Yeah. Okay, next question. We could go quite in depth with this, to be honest. From at Trainiac J. The worst merchandise ranges. Bit of a broad question, isn't it?
At the moment, I'll say Hornby, actually.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of, you have to take into account the pricing and what the range presents.
As well as the lack of consistency.
As well as the lack of consistency, as well as the fact that the company's going to go to shit. Hornby is interesting where they've had the range for the longest. Like, Ertl had it first, but Ertl died out in the early 2000s. So, Hornby have had the long game with the show's merchandise, but they haven't really got anything to show for it. And I think it's gotten to the point where it's getting a bit ridiculous. Like, what you're getting for your money with the Hornby range just isn't. What the Railroad range is better, more detailed, cheaper. Why would you go for the Thomas range at this point?
I agree.
And, like, again, like, minis, yeah, they're selling out, but they're cheap. And, no, they're cheap and inconsequential. Like, the other ranges, they're doing, like, even then, Take and Play's redesigns aren't the best things in the world, but they're still so harmless at the end of the day, whereas, you know, the Hornby range is actually kind of killing its company at the moment.
I think, to be honest, in comparison as well, Bachmann's going strength to strength. Like,
Yeah.
they're not, honestly, their releases do feel quite stagnated. Like, I feel...
Yeah, expect the Rosie to come out in 2018!
Yeah, you always get that feeling, but they are making quality items, and I think a lot of people buy them.
Yeah.
I don't know how many people are going to buy the Rosie, but that's just me. But, yeah, I think Bachmann's doing pretty well. Wooden Railway genuinely are doing very well. They can get stuff out quickly and efficiently.
Yeah.
And obviously, I think they're the most... I don't know about you, I'd say... Apart from Take and Play, they're probably the most appealing brand to the younger audience as well.
Yeah, I think Take and Play has the advantage of just being able to have slightly more detailed toys.
Yeah, but if an adult wants a engine that can be smashed up quite easily, well, you know, like it's durable, but like it won't lose its detail if it's bashed about. But then yeah.
But like stuff like again, minis, they're cheap as all. Trackmaster's doing fine. They've got all the sort of special moments.
That's
okay. In terms of quality, Trackmaster's quite
down the
poor.
drain.
Have you seen the new designs for Annie and Clarabelle? Oh, good God.
I have, yeah.
Oh, good God, what happened to you, Toby? I remember when I was young and they had Tamika Weld and I'm an old man already. Where's my
Yeah.
walking stick?
I still remember I entered my first competition when I entered a Calling All Engines tie-in promotion to win the Tommy airfield set with Jeremy and Thomas, and I was so excited.
I remember
I didn't
set
win.
really. I remember that set really confused me because I was like, because the advert was like, "Watch Jeremy fly about," and I just went, "No, that's just a blue road." What?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
lied to us.
No, you want to know how old I am? My first Tommy set was the. It was pre-Tommy Motor Road and Rail. It was Tomica, and it was the Thomas and Bertie, not the racing set, but the adventure set. That's how old I am.
Oh,
It came with the VHS. It had like a Harold the Helicopter Station. It was like the best thing.
you know what? My favourite thing ever when I was younger. I can't remember what it's called. It was just like Thomas and Percy loaders.
Yeah,
And it would jump between them, and it had like little balls of coal.
See, I was such a little child where I would like twist the toy around so I'd make sure that only Thomas ever got to go on the wheels, and like Percy would just throw away and like I don't care.
You're evil.
It's Thomas. It's Thomas.
It had Terrence in as well, didn't it?
My one didn't have Terrence
Because
because there was one with Cranky as well.
Yeah.
I had the one with Cranky.
I think I had the one with Terrence. Yeah.
No,
And I had the classic Thomas where you'd push the driver's head down and it would just shoot off.
See that no best Thomas range. My first Thomas, the talking one.
Yeah.
Those were just they had like the best adverts. And
I think they're like the merchandise equivalent of a Nokia phone as well. Like I feel like they could survive a nuclear war.
No, but like if you had like enough of the talking range, you essentially had an army of Michelangeluses.
Yeah.
It's like, trust me. I remember seeing a video where someone had like a lot of them, and they pushed like they sort of ran along them and pushed all the like talking buttons as they went along.
Yeah.
Maddening. No, do you know what one of my favourite toys was as a child? Is the Tommy remote controlled steaming Thomas.
Oh yeah.
And it had the white footplate. It had proper like side rods on all 6 wheels.
It had detail.
That's
what it had.
Wonderful. And it had smoke. It was the coolest thing.
Yeah. I miss that.
What would you say is your favourite range at the moment, like present day, Thomas? What's your favourite range?
See, my favourite range isn't present day. I'd say right now, if I was going to get something, I don't really get Thomas stuff anymore.
Yeah.
I think I might get a Bachmann thing, dependent on what it was, and I might occasionally pick up a take and play if I was interested in like converting it to 00 scale.
Yeah.
I think both of them are kind of just leagues ahead in the way of detail.
Yeah.
But one thing that I've always wanted to invest in, and occasionally I'll just go on eBay sprees, just looking up every part of it, is do you remember the Ertl mini range?
Yeah.
So I have a Percy and nothing else, and I've always been tempted to just blow a bunch of money on all of it.
I think like my opinion on the current ranges would be I would be much more impressed with Bachmann if they had like a lot more stuff. If they were able to release stuff more regularly, I would generally be like it would bring them up more. They are amazing for detail, they are amazing for like the quality of their products, but it's that the quantity is just a bit too low. Still no Hornby. I think my second favorite range present day would be Take and Play. Like even though they're not like the best in terms of like their detail anymore, they're still quite nice. Like when it comes to like new characters, I am like the Take and Play range is the one I'm like, that's the one I want to buy.
Yeah.
I
remember I was really impressed with their Ryan when it came out.
Oh yeah, Ryan's cool. I'm gonna pick him up now. I've dropped him. But yeah, I think like favorite range of all time it just has to be either original Tomica or Ertl, because Ertl had the variety and just the look. Like I was a bit iffy on the faces.
Oh.
Their molded faces are a bit weird. They are.
Sometimes, yeah.
Most of the time. But like, I every time a new character's announced, and I sort of go, I wonder how they'd look in Earth form.
Hmm.
And then my mind just goes, amazing.
I think, should we take one more question?
Is there another question that's worth answering? Oh yes, there is.
There is. Okay. At Davis_Selby asks, how do you think the push for new characters and merchandise is hindering or helping the TTT brand, and why? I think that's a really good question, actually.
It's a good question with a simple answer. It's helping the brand because money equals toys and equals money equals more show equals money.
Do you like it on a personal level, though?
It doesn't affect me. I don't care. Like, the merchandising isn't like a thing I'm that interested in, so it can never really, like, whatever they do with the merchandising ranges from now on never really affects me.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like, if it's helping the brand produce better stuff, like visually in terms of the like products, then I don't mind.
Yeah. I think, of course, from a merchandise level, it makes perfect sense. On a personal level, sometimes it can be a bit overwhelming. Definitely this year, it's going to be overwhelming.
And suddenly, Bachmann announced their 12 international engines. What?
But I think if you don't try and introduce new characters, then what's the point ultimately? You know. I think ideally, I'd like to have a mix of both. Not as many characters introduced.
I mean, I think everyone should really like think about it and be honest. As a child, did you really care about the storyline? Like thinking about, don't like talk as an adult looking back. Talk as a child, like a proper child. Did you care about the storylines, the set designs that much, or did you really just care about which new character you could get? And either you cared about the characters properly, or you're a liar.
I feel a little bit lacking, though, to be fair, in stories from the main cast. I know they are there.
Yeah.
I missed like a proper James story or a Gordon story or a Toby. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they need to like balance things out where we have like one episode from the main cast per season, like starring them.
Because I think they do that, but I just like a few more stories where it's just that main cast, or it features only characters from the main cast.
I don't remember an Edward story from Series 19.
I don't remember an Edward story in the last.
No, there was Edward, the old reliable Edward from Series 18.
Yeah, I think they need to find a new story to tell about Edward, though.
I know.
He can't just be old.
I think you'll find he is the old.
Yeah.
But yeah, more needs to be done with Edward.
No,
Edward deserves better. Fight for Edward!
Hashtag fight for Edward. Get it trending, guys and girls.
You didn't realise the worrying thing is it will be trending for all of a minute after people watch this. It'll just be like our 1 second of fame.
Oh dear.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Yeah, I think it has its positives and negatives, but merchandise brings new Bachmann engines. That's a good thing. No.
Merchandise allows us to get a Bachmann Rosie every year.
The merchandise has its positives and negatives, and it's really what you personally take from it. Obviously, from a business standpoint, yes, it helps the show a lot. I think actually the best thing to do now is why not bring more Railway Series characters in? You can still merchandise them.
Bear.
We all want Bear. That interesting non-two-dimensional character. He had a personality. Right.
I can't really think of any other Railway Series characters they could have. Like they've done the
Mountain engines. We need mountain engines.
Mountain engines is a sort of thing I wouldn't want as a regular thing. I'd want like a movie based on the mountain engines as its own standalone thing, but I wouldn't want it as a regular thing.
I think they're coming. I think the SIF interview said about that.
Yeah, I think it will happen, but I don't want it to happen. I want them to have a standalone movie and that's it. With like
If you think about how many narrow gauge episodes we get per season, though.
None. We've had none last season.
Exactly. I'd be okay with like one Colby Fell story per year, or something like that. That'd be nice. Thank you very much for everybody who asked those questions. We're sorry we couldn't answer all of them, but we had a really nice set of them.
That's mainly because we don't like all of them. Improve your question asking for next episode of Thom-Cast, please.
But I think that's the show for this week. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening.
We will do these more regularly.
Yeah, probably have a guest on next week, I think, or whenever we do the next episode.
And that guest will be Matt Bacon.
Yes, our most regular guest. If anybody has any ideas who they'd like as a guest on the show, why not write in and let us know.
And if you suggest yourself, then you will definitely not be a guest ever.
I think that from there we can wrap it up. Thank you very much for listening.
Yep, thank you.
You can contact us at thomcast1@gmail.com.
Yes, you got it right the first time.
Or you can reach us on Twitter at Thomcast1.
Or you can follow George home. His postcode is...